10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negro. Now, for the benefit of those of you who are not familiar with the channel or watching this channel for the first time, the reason why it is called Uncommon Sense is because here on this platform, we discuss everyday issues where we try to find logical solutions. But not everyone uses logic. So for that reason, it is called Uncommon Sense. Um, I also have a much smaller YouTube channel called Latina Diaspora, where I discuss issues pertaining to Latinos residing in the United States. The link to that channel is in the description. Sorry, I'm a little bit late, but we're here now. Um, I just want to give a huge shout out to all those who have already subscribed to the channel, whether you've been a supporter from the very beginning or just recently joined as late as today. I really appreciate your love and continued support. I also want to give a huge shout out to all those who follow me on social media, particularly when it comes to Instagram and TikTok. Your continued support really touches my heart. I also want to give a huge shout out to all those who allow me to enter into your devices and those who watch from the clouds, even the haters. So I just want to let everybody know that I'm live on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. And also the subscriber mode has been enabled. Meaning, if you're not a subscriber and if you wish to enter a comment in the chat, you need to subscribe to the channel. Also in the description, I have the links to Golden Goddess's channel and Dreaming of Reality. So in any case, tonight is Friday. So as you can see by the description of the thumbnail, we're going to have another episode of open discussion. So an open discussion, basically what I will do is I will give you my observations regarding several topics. And of course, you, the audience, will have an opportunity to opine. Also, you will have the opportunity um, to suggest any topic that you want me to discuss. Please be mindful that any topic that I'm not too familiar with, I will state so accordingly. Also, I want to make it perfectly clear that the link to join the panel has been pinned. Should anyone wishes to hit that link and discuss any topic, they may do so. Nevertheless, if I have never seen you before, if I never heard from you before, I will insist that you come up in the backstage and make sure that no one flashes anything inappropriate, especially when it comes to genitalia. Because I am not going to allow anything which would cause the people of YouTube to take down this channel. So, with that being said, um, the first topic I'm going to talk about has to do with local politics, mainly in New York. Eric Adams has announced that he's going to be running as an independent. Okay. Now, his party affiliation is Democrat, but for reasons only known to him, he's going to be running as an unaffiliated. There may be speculation. There's a great deal of speculation as far as the why. Um, Part of it, I think, is to try to get past the radar and not having to answer certain questions. Um, I have a problem with it, okay. First of all, because anyone that aspires to be the chief executive of the city of New York should be able to answer questions regarding the promises they kept, questions regarding promises they failed to keep, also regarding any allegations of any misdeeds. Now, it is speculation that there may be some 30 candidate people that may announce that they plan to run for mayor. Now, now back in February, DC 37 did have a forum of the candidates, of which Eric Adams was invited to attend. But at the advice at legal counsel, he was advised not to participate, which of course it did not bode well, and it was not received by the participants or by the people who were present at the forum. Since then, Andrew Cuomo has announced that he wished to become the city's chief executive. Now, those of you who are not familiar with New York State politics, he was the previous governor, and of course, he resigned due to allegations of sexual harassment. And I'm going to say allegations because one thing we have to bear in mind that everyone, and I repeat, everyone is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law or confession. So, excuse me, just a minute. I'm sorry, I just lost my train of thought for a moment. But we shall see, because eventually, Andrew Cuomo, just like everybody else who aspires to become mayor, is going to have to discuss his visions for New York. Now, my problem with Andrew Cuomo stems from the fact that there are allegations that he doctored the books when it comes to the number of fatalities in the nursing homes during the COVID-19 pandemic, plus Tier 6. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with Tier 6 is a very controversial pension plan for new municipal employees. Many of the problems is, first of all, the contribution rate varies depending on your annual salary. Another problem with it is that not all of your overtime is factored in to your pension, and your final, what's called your final, yes, your pension is based on an average of 5 years consecutive pay of employment. Many of I myself, I am in Tier 4, so it's a different tier. So I don't have to worry about different rate depending countries depending on payroll. But we shall see. The next topic, which I'm going to talk about, is more false narratives. Okay. Now, what do I mean by that? There are certain individuals here on this YouTube streets that love to create false narratives regarding certain individuals. Okay. Of course, that's something that many YouTube creators have to deal with. I myself, there's been one individual, well, a couple of individuals that have created false narratives regarding yours truly. I am not going to repeat them because I've stated on several occasions. Nor will I repeat who are those individuals that are creating false narratives regarding me. The reason why I'm not, because first of all, by naming those individuals, therefore what I'm doing is basically giving, giving light to people, to these individuals. And what happens is it gets into a situation where they say something, you respond, and then they respond to you with your response, and then it goes back and forth. Good evening, Georgia. How you doing tonight? So tonight it's open discussion. Okay. So I'm talking several different topics. Right now I'm speaking about false narratives. Okay. Now, of course, you have been the victim of certain individuals creating false narratives as yourself, okay? And of course, one thing we do have to bear in mind is that the people that know us the least are the loudest when it comes to false narratives. That is a reality, okay? And of course, there have been narratives that have been mentioned not only regarding Georgia, narratives regarding golden goddess, false narratives regarding dreaming of reality, false narratives regarding multiple content creators, due to the fact that there are people that that are ops that either have issues with our content or with those individuals that we choose to hang with. And I see here we have a guest. So let me just state for the record that the views of those who appear on the panel are not necessarily those of the host of the channel. Any attempt to copy material without the consent of the host is prohibited. By appearing on the call, you waive your rights to your image. Some of the views that people hold may be considered offensive to some viewers. If you do not like the content, you can block the channel. And now we're going to bring in our guest. Good evening, Georgia.
Oops, my bad. I forgot to unmute myself. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Good evening. How are you doing tonight?
Good. How about I start our wonderful, fabulous Friday evening off with a oración? ¿Está bien?
Adelante, por favor.
Good. Gracias, Dios, por estos alimentos que tenemos de tu abundancia a través de Cristo nuestro Señor. Jesús es nuestro Salvador y fortaleza por toda la eternidad. En el nombre de Jesús, amen.
Amen.
Alrighty. Yep, because remember when I said in Discord that Creole Lady Marmalade was thinking that it would be great for us to, explore different language avenues and everything, though, to also, I guess you could say, represent certain parts of our lineages while at the same time prioritizing Christ.
Yes. Well, speaking about that, in fact, the topic for Monday's stream would be intercessory prayer.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay.
So
that's right.
So we would discuss it. I know that Creole Lady, as she wishes to be referred to today, she's not the type of person that join panels. Part of it is a precaution, but the welcome mat is there. She wished to participate.
She may at this point, though, just because of the new direction, which I'm cool with, though, because, I told her that maybe hopefully by this weekend or so or sooner, though, I will at least try to get something going, though. And what I did earlier, though, was just a start. So I do have a Spanish prayer book and everything. Mm-hmm. I've always had it. I always love it. I always even love some of the sermons in Spanish. Like I love this one right here, which says, Yo soy quien te dice en medio de tu dolor y tristeza. Yo te haré fuerte y te daré mi gracia, para que puedas superior esto en medio de tu debilidad. Le mostraré mi poder confiar.
Okay.
So that's another one.
Okay.
Even you can also read off a prayer too, if you'd like.
Okay. Well, we can definitely say a couple of prayers when we have our discussion regarding the intercessory prayer on Monday. Definitely. Right now we're talking about.
Oh, that's true. Sorry
no,
about that.
Okay. No, it's okay. But
as we know that I'm a bilingual reader, so
yeah, it's okay. But of course, we all know that there are certain individuals, unfortunately.
So what's going on?
Created false narrative, not just about us, but also a lot of people that we know here in these YouTube streets.
Oh yeah, that. Sorry, yeah. Okay, because that's why I was like, wait, what is Jose talking about? Because I just arrived. It was a long day, worked out, started off with some Spanish prayers. So okay, let me guess. Is this in regards to like false accusations or just false narratives going around?
It's false accusations, false narratives. One thing that I think it's a common thread.
Oh, yeah, man.
That the ones that speak the loudest are the ones that know us the least.
Oh yeah, because I guess what was it? It was well, I'm not going to say the person who showed me all that stuff though, but that led to one of my responses on my status update in regard to how whoever your haters are though, and they're going to be giving you all this attention, though, just take it as a badge of honor, though, because it's free press, free promotion. Because,
Yes.
like, I saw what you guys showed me, though, and I'm just like, oh, okay. Well, thank you, bro. Thank you very much, though, because that just redirected people to my testimony, though. So I'm like, you know what? This dude is about to make my life actually a lot easier. So muchas gracias. Muchas
Yeah.
gracias. Muchas
See,
gracias por la publicidad. You know,
all I can say is ay
it's,
bendito. That's all I can say, ay bendito.
yeah, it's just because I saw somebody sharing me like a screenshot saying that a British therapist was terrified of me. I'm friends with that British therapist. And I was just talking to her today. And this therapist wanted me on her show to do the interview, but yet she's terrified. But yet she invited somebody up whom she's terrified of. Interesting.
Yes. Speaking about false narratives, on one of Gigi's lives earlier this week, there was a certain individual that was trolling, talking about how allegedly
Honey Rose.
Gigi and Dreamy had chased out this person, and then all of a sudden mentioned someone that's a dear friend of ours.
You're
And
talking
it's
about
like,
Honey Rose, right?
yes,
Nobody really knows who she is, and like I could care less because if I can't really see you or hear you, though, then just about anything you're going to say to me is going to be inadmissible.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have my own speculation of who this person is and why she, oh, well, the individual popped on the chat, because we don't know. For all we know, it could be a he or someone whose gender identity is undefined.
Right. Looks like we have Embrace Your Curls.
Oh yes, good
Going
evening.
on.
Embrace your curls.
It's great
Nice
to
see
see
you over
you.
here. Yes.
Good evening.
Uh, Speaking about embrace your curves, I mean, she's another person where there have been certain individuals that try to discourage her to associating with certain people that we know.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I remember that. Yeah, she said that on Gigi's stream the other day. But yeah, hey, Embrace Your Curls. So no, I just so she says, how am I doing? Oh, I'm doing wonderfully well, though. It's just I started us off with a Spanish prayer a little bit earlier, though, and I guess Jose was talking about how there still is a continuation of like false accusations or false narratives going around.
Yes.
Or
Well,
people
unfortunately,
telling
that's
somebody to disassociate from such and such. Yeah.
yeah. And of course, remember there was a certain individual that tried to convince me to have you excommunicated from this platform.
Yeah, that's the same person who even reached out to Embrace Your Curls. So, yeah.
Well, I know it sounds old. I know it sounds quaint. But if you're cool with me, I'm cool with you.
Same. I mean, I'll still like bring something up to you that it's questionable. I will still say that, like I think that kind of like what you're doing and everything is wrong. It's a little bit pointless, though, and I will for sure have like a respectful disagreement with such and such, though. But if we can both reciprocate respect for one another, then I think we're fine. Because, like, for instance, though, like even Gigi, she says that, like she does struggle with things like forgiveness though, and you even heard me say, Jose, even on her platform and even on here, is that actually, Gigi, you have to fully forgive, otherwise the Father won't forgive you.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well,
you can see how me and Gigi respect each other, even though you saw how I respectfully disagreed with her. So even if you are my friend and I'm cool with you or whatever, though, I'm still going to make it clear about things that I'm not on board with, whether we get along or not.
yes.
Because good friends, true friends, rebuke each other and correct
Yeah.
each other and check each other. Okay.
That is true. And that's why I make it a point when it comes to forgiveness. Forgiveness does not mean restoration to a previous relationship. You can forgive a person and not have anything to do with the person again. What it means is that the hurt, whether it be in word or in action, no longer affects you.
Yeah. True.
Yeah.
It's not all about restoration.
No. And unfortunately, people have a hard time. And I think part of the reason why some people are struggling with the concept of forgiveness because they would automatically equate forgiveness as restoration of a previous relationship, which is not necessarily the case.
Not at all. Just about everybody I've forgiven, though. Do you think I want to hold hands and sing some kumbaya?
Believe me, I am not in the mood to sing Kumbaya songs with any of our ops.
Exactly, though. Because like I said, man, though, like when I'm gonna have you and Zacharias establish closure on my page, I already know you're not gonna hold hands and sing some kumbaya, and he's probably gonna feel the same way. And you know that, man.
I
You
mean, look,
know that, Jose.
I mean,
I have to
okay,
tell you that, brother. You know that.
well, as I said it to Dreamy, um, both my parents, all my siblings that passed away,
Mhm.
and my two nephews that passed away could be risen from the dead, and they can collectively be on their hands and knees begging me to forgive sacrifice, allow sacrifice on this platform. The answer would be negative.
I know. That's just why, like I said, it's all going to take place on mine. But that's just an example. You're never going to hold hands and sing kumbaya with him ever again. But his actions or his behavior or the allegations he made against you don't affect you.
No,
No
no,
bearing whatsoever on your life, though. It's just you don't trust him, which is different. We can fully, truly forgive somebody from the bottom of our hearts, but never trust them again.
exactly. And to be fair to Gigi and Dreamy, um, they were the recipients of a lot of crap thrown their way. So obviously they have a lot of hurt feelings, and I can understand. You know what? I can okay. I mean, I can see their logic.
I do. But can I also throw something in there?
Sure.
You know what 2 Timothy 3 verse 12 says? I actually know it by heart. It says
Okay.
is that for those who want to live a godly life will be persecuted because you want to live by him. So that stuff is going to be expected. Because if you like you once brought up earlier, though, you guys made it known to me about what was going on Twitter and somebody pinning me up there as his comments, though. I'm just like, all that stuff is biblical. Hatred, jealousy, rage, demon, all that stuff. But that's just where I'm like, okay. I mean, it's pretty clear to us that me harassing some British therapist is horribly false because me and that British therapist are actually talking right now. And I actually told her what happened, though, and showed her what happened, though, and she thinks that is just stupid. So
Well,
it's all just biblical. It's all tied into just where we're at. And I just think that you just need to be made aware of that, though, so that you know what's going on and how to properly handle it. And then Embracer Crow says, I don't forgive very easily. That's okay.
well,
That's between you and God.
But you know what?
But
you know what?
What's
but
up?
you know what, Joshua? At least she acknowledges, which is a start.
Yes, that's honest. That's honesty. Honesty is the best policy, and that's admirable, though, because you have too many people on here who lie way too much, though.
Yes.
And Gigi, Embracer Crows, and Dreamy all get a lot of kudos for being very honest. Because I respect honesty. I'm not going to respect lies that are being spewed out of your mouth.
That's very true. I mean, just as outrageous as you threatening a British therapist is the fact that I have an STD.
And that he's gonna drop some phone call. I'm like, dude, there is no phone call, bro. So stop lying through your teeth.
Now
there is no phone call. So I'm like, I thought you said you were going to get the police, work with law enforcement to get me off the street. I thought you said you were going to do that. What happened? What happened to the little swatting, the falsified calls? What happened? Where is this? Where's this phone call that is allegedly of me harassing the British therapist and she being terrified of me? And embrace your curls. I think we all are very much sick and tired of it too. But sometimes you do have to stand up to cyberbullying, though, while at the same time praying for that person because they clearly have demonic possession going on. They're weak in their flesh. They're very jealous, though. They know that they can't really contribute any kind of true value to the community. As long as they're breathing, we can pray for them that they can start making changes today and that they can really start to analyze their moral compass because they're lacking in it.
Mm-hmm.
They need Jesus. Yeah, I know that's a trigger word if you know it. Jesus. Yep, they need Jesus, right? Jesus.
Yes.
Jesus will save them the same way that he saved us. And hey, Irby.
Yes. Yeah, good evening, Irby. But look, the fact of the matter is, Georgia, the ops can't stand us because of our content, or more likely because of the people that we choose to affiliate with. And you know what? It is our choice. We will affiliate with whomever we wish.
True. But even outside of all this stuff, though, like, I'm fine. I'm fine. I have a horse that I can play with. I love sweet old Cooper. He's a sweetheart. And I'm just like, so expect for there to be probably more horse videos still, but I'm kind of wondering whether he's going to be interested in seeing some horses.
You know what's
like
going
horses,
to be the
bro? Now you have a chance to see some.
Georgia, you can.
What's up?
You know what's going to be the next accusation?
What? That I'm abusing my horse?
No, that you're doing mommy daddy things with the horse.
No, I haven't gotten that one just yet. And Embracer Crow says, no, not anymore. I block people. Yeah, I do too, though. And then also, since people are sending me stuff through Twitter, though, I have a Twitter account, but by the way, I don't use it. I'm only active on here and TikTok and Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even use Twitter, though. It's not really my thing.
Well, I mean, I'm active in TikTok, and actually, believe it or not, I have one short on TikTok that's gotten close to 20,000 views.
Cool. 20,000. Nice.
That's the jealousy right there. That instead of being envious of people who are being productive with their content, create some positive content yourself.
I mean, yeah. I mean, on here, by the way, I'm almost at the end of 500 crew, though. But guess what? That's okay, though, because there's that one part in the scripture which says you can gain the whole world but forfeit your soul. So, which is it?
Yeah. I mean, look, let me tell you something. When you die, you cannot take anything with you. The only thing that's going to leave is the soul, and the soul will have one or two final destinations. The other one, heaven,
Exactly.
or the other one, into the separation from God.
Let's just honestly say it for what it is. That's hell. Yeah.
That's true.
So that's and do I don't want anybody to go there, Jose. I really don't. So even for our ops, though, I really do hope that they can change their hearts now, though, because when they pass, all they're going to take with them is what they filled their hearts with. So I don't really want them to go to that terrible place. And yeah, Irby's like LOL, but Irby, I love them, by the way. I don't approve of their behavior, but I love them.
Hmm.
So for those that I love, which is every human being, I don't really want you guys to go there. So I think that's where you guys do have to repent now before it's too late.
Yes.
That even goes for my ops, by the way. And I want to actually tell you this too, Jose, since it's about to get crazy right now. You want to hear my craziness right now?
Go ahead.
Righteous. So, you hear about what's going on in El Salvador, right? With their largest prison complex by the name of Secot. You've seen the documentary
Yes.
where pretty much it's housing at least 40,000 members of the Sureños, the MS-13, and the Barrio 18 gangs.
Hmm.
Let me tell you this. You really want to hear it? You really want to know the truth?
Yes.
I don't want them to go to hell. So I'm actually glad that facility actually has a place where they can actually be introduced to faith. Because yes, they have to reap what they sow here, but at least their soul won't really have to go though if they change their hearts now. You know?
Yes. Good
They.
evening, Don Armando. Thank you very much for stopping by.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, they have to reap what they sow, though. Absolutely, though. Do they deserve to be
Yes.
there? Absolutely, though. But since they're still breathing, though, they actually have a chance for redemption. So, yes, for the gang members, the MS-13, the Sureños, I don't want them to go to hell. No.
No.
And not even, I don't even want the hater of mine, though, who's now decided to, I guess, pin my comment on his Twitter account. I don't want him to go to hell either, though. I love him. And I love all the gang members. I love you guys all the same way that Jesus loved you guys too, you know? So therefore,
Yeah.
I have to pray for you and I have to intercede for you too, you know?
Of course.
And I already know what
Yeah.
people are going to say right now. I already know I'm going to get all the backlash and saying that, oh my God, look at Jordan. He's saying that he loves gang members. Yeah, I do. Because I don't want them to go to a place and have to deal with all of that, you know?
Because you know what's the problem is they have the erroneous concept of what is love.
God's love trumps over fleshly love.
Yep.
Your
That is
flesh
so
is not
true.
your flesh is not a believer.
Hmm.
Hey Don, I'm removing my nails. I'm removing my nails as we speak. Cool.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that is.
Don, I can actually tell you this, though. I could tell you the verse, though. That's from Matthew 5, verse 44, where Jesus says, pray for your enemies and those who persecute you. No, that does not mean to put up with their injustice and put up with all this and that, though, because you can clearly see how earlier, though, we were clearly standing up to cyberbullying, right?
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, it's very pathetic and it's also very immature for a man who is now pushing into his late 30s. Like, come on. I'll be 33 by the end of the summer. I'm way too old for that. And I'm freaking way too old to lie on somebody about how they are, I guess, abusing or attacking or harassing international therapists. Like, what? No, no. Even
Now,
that even that in itself already sounds made up.
yeah.
That clearly even sounds like, I mean, if I didn't, because when I looked into cases like this, I'm kind of a little skeptical about that, though. I mean, I can just tell that the person clearly has issues with such and such. And because of that, they're willing to even fabricate stuff or share some half truths, you know? And he knows
Now,
that.
Now let me ask you a question. How is it impossible I can have an STD? The last time I engaged in intercourse when I was married, which was way back in 2011.
Not possible. I mean, I mean, I would assume that, I guess you've been already checked since then, and things have been fine, and then you were monogamous, and that's it, though.
Ye-
And the other case, no, I do not have any of that stuff. I'm not sexually active. I'm not seeing anybody, and then I also donate plasma too, by the way, 2 times a week. And
Mhm.
the one of the first questions they asked me at the plasma bank is this: have you had any sexual partners recently? And guess what? The answers are always are no, no,
No,
no. And I'm glad it's like that.
yeah, but that kind of gives you an idea of the foolishness of our ops.
Exactly. And you want to know what? As we speak, though, no, keep speaking though, because I'm also, you know what, going to eventually pull something up though, and I'm actually going to play it for us. By the way.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, but keep talking.
Okay. But you know what? We're not the only ones that been victims of false narratives. Of course, um, another one that been harassed is a dear friend, Creole lady.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Okay, it's a shame that people will pick on an individual such as herself, who is young, a very creative, a content creator, who's proud of her culture, but more
Mm-hmm.
proud of being a fellow Christian.
Agreed, though, and that's why I'm like so glad that she. Hold on, sorry. I was looking at the comments. Looking at the comments. Yeah, it says embrace your curls. I turned 31 in August, though. How is a person in their 60s been doing foolish stuff since the 40s? Oh yeah. Leo or Virgo. Virgo, embrace your curls. Okay. Keep going.
Mhm. Yeah, but look, and I'm going to be 63 in October. So if you're too old for this nonsense, you can just imagine how I feel.
That's true.
But unfortunately, we have to do. with individuals, which I refer to the collector as the circus because they act like a bunch of clowns. I mean,
Agreed.
particularly when you have one individual that actually devoted two complete streams about me because they couldn't stand mild criticism.
Right. I also, on that note, though, well, I'm going to give them something to be triggered about, by the way, and it's going to be the truth. And I'm going to turn on my
Uh-huh.
camera, too, by the way, okay? And I'm going to play something for 1 minute, okay?
Okay. Do I have
And
to give free use notice or
yes, fair use.
okay, yes, fair use because I don't want to get hit with a community strike.
All right. All righty, though. Here I am.
So what happened to us is like that Titanic, that we were big and strong gang, but we got hit with the iceberg. Like try to act strong in the day and cry in the nighttime.
You cry at night.
Yeah.
Most Salvadorans support President Nayib Bukele's efforts to lock up gang members, but advocates for migrants in the United States worry this is no
All right.
place for anyone.
So you saw that gang member. His name, he's MS-13, by the way. He's bilingual, though. And guess what? He's there at Cult forever, though. I've seen his other interviews, too. And let me tell you this, bro. I would visit that facility, though, just to go down and pray for him, though, because I sense a lot of regret in him. And he's even talked about how he has a son and that he would love for his son not to go down the path that he did, which has caused him to be there for the rest of his life. So that gang member's name is Marvin. What I actually truly do pray for Marvin's redemption. He says that I guess he would love to be forgiven, though. That's great, though. But I honestly would love for the Lord to use him to reach all of the other gang members in there so that they can be with the Father forever, you know? And I already know that's going to seriously ruffle some feathers, you know, with what I just said. You know that,
Yeah,
right?
well, yeah,
So
I know.
I'm dead serious, though. If I'm ever invited to El Salvador, which is now very safe, and I'm offered to go to that prison, though, even to minister to some of those gang members, though, who want to hear it, by the way, only the ones who want to hear it, yes, I'd be happy to, of course. Let me know. Maybe me and you, Jose, we can go, or I can go alone, you know?
Who knows? But
But I'm dead
but
serious. But the ops are
no,
going to
but
hate what I just said.
oh, forget it. I mean, they'll be like devoting like a whole entire stream just to all that, and of course they're gonna paint their false narratives because they got nothing better to do.
Yeah, it says, Irby says Central American gangs. No, yeah, I agree, Irby.
Well,
They're going to
um,
be mad, but I'm serious.
well, the next thing I'm going to talk about is that what I like to call revisionist history. Now, you're
Mhm.
probably wondering, what am I talking about? Well, I happened to view Magic's last live where she mentioned how things were rough, supposedly rough here on these YouTube streets. So she decided to take her content over to TikTok, where things were even worse, and how she and the future Golden supposedly miss things in these YouTube streets, particularly when it comes to the mix sector.
I didn't watch it. Mm-mm. Like I've kind of said like before, though, I'd already would be happy to, have like Priscilla back in my life, kind of like as like the prodigal friend, much like the prodigal son in the Bible, though. But it's pretty clear that's not really something that she wants because she has let other people get into her ear without seeing the whole story, because there are three sides of a story. their side, our side, my side, her side, and the truth. So it's not something that she wants, and I'm fine with that. But she knows how to reach me, and I'll be there, like Michael Jackson's song. Okay, but what's
Yes.
up?
Well,
That's how
look,
I am with everybody.
and you know something, and this is something that I alluded to. Have those two have put their egos if they were able to check their eagles, and work with Gigi and Dreamy, the four of them would have been an awesome collective.
Mm-hmm. Ultimately, that's up to the girls themselves, though. But I think their hearts are far from that, and there's already been too much burning of bridges for something like that to ever come to pass. Because for
Yes.
one, the only thing I'm going to say is Priscilla. You just got to remember this, Priscilla, though, that I'm willing to take you back as like that prodigal friend, of course. So, because for one, me and you never had any beef, first and foremost, and two, it was also me, not only just Jake, even though I don't want to talk to him, but I also defended you when you got horribly slandered, which led to you taking a break for months. I haven't forgotten about that because what happened to you back then, by the way, was wrong, without a doubt, though. And let's just say if I ever saw you out on the streets and you were in trouble, uh, expect for me to step in and you can thank me later, okay? Because that's actually where my heart is at. But that's all I wanted to say, even though that is not something that you can reciprocate, okay?
Well, as I think I
How I
made it
roll.
perfectly, I think I made it perfectly clear that I extended an olive branch. However, she had to take accountability for her actions. Number one, and number two, she's gonna have to be cool with the fact that I'm gonna be cool with whoever I wish. Okay, it's more of a likelihood that I will have a full head of hair, but the olive branch was extended nevertheless.
Yeah, ultimately up to them. And because the greatest gift that we all have is free will.
Hmm.
But yeah, I have all of our videos. I got all of the memories together. I have all of that stuff all collected. And I'm never going to get rid of it though because I think they're precious memories, by the way. So even if you're somebody I don't talk to anymore, I'm not going to get rid of anything.
Don Amano, I'm gonna make a general statement, which is there's a lot of people that's gonna have to be accountable for their actions and their words.
Yep.
Okay, so I don't want to like just single out anyone, um, particularly when they're not here to answer. But the reality is this: um, they're gonna have to, in order for dialogue, there has to be accountability for of their actions, and they have to understand that I'm going to be cool with whoever I'm going to be cool with. Okay, if you want to, if you want to carry on the beef with anyone that I'm cool with, that's on you.
And yep, I don't even have any beef with her. There's no need for me to have any beef with her though, because there's even somebody who recently wrote on my post saying, "Hey, what happened with you and Magic though?" Well, nothing happened between me and her though, because for one, there's no reason for me and her to beef though. It's just we both kind of went our own separate ways, have a different kinds of choices of friends still, and I guess all of that stuff pretty much, burned the bridge.
Yeah,
And that's
and of
it.
course that,
That's all I'm
of
gonna
course that
say.
troll, yeah, of course that troll was trying to talk about how supposedly Gigi and Dreamy drove out Denise. No, it's just that, she's dealing with her own situation, and she has more important things to do than to be worrying about who thinks of what.
Yep. Well, let me say it like this, though. Okay. If she were dangling from a cliff, though, I would flat out say grab my hand, though. Whereas I already know if things were probably the other way around, somebody would probably take a rock and make sure I get hit with it and fall to my death. You know that, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. We already know that. Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah. Even when the same case comes with a future, though, whatever she looks like, though, like if she were dangling off of the Brooklyn Bridge, though, I would say that, here, get up. Get up. Even though I don't think that it would be the case if it were vice versa. Nope. Just saying. I mean, I hope that's not true. Hope that you can probably pass me the rope or something, though, in that hypothetical situation, though. But nobody's going to die on my part, okay? Life is beautiful. Life is precious,
Yeah.
Bottom line.
Yep, that is true.
Because
Yep.
I've heard some people
And
say
I
that,
see here that Denise is joining. Okay, okay. Let me just acknowledge the fact that my cyber daughter has joined in Instagram, and just want to say, que Dios te bendiga, hija, and also Norma Calvin too joined. So I just want to say good evening, welcome to the stream, and Denise, I love you very much.
we love you very, very much, unconditionally, Jose and Denise.
Yes. And I just want to say, without a doubt, Denise, you've been truly missed here in these YouTube streets. But I know, you know, you know. Okay, you know what? Let me just state this: you have your reasons, okay, to tend to other things that require your immediate attention.
Mm-hmm.
So. No, I did not remove Denise from the platform. She knows very well, and I'll say it again. The welcome mat is there for anyone that wishes to hop on, opine regarding any topic that we're discussing.
Amen.
But I gotta admit, I find it hilarious when Honey Rose actually thought that I actually kicked Denise from my platform. Really?
Wait, what happened?
Okay,
Who
well,
thought? Who thought?
okay,
Wait, who?
Honey Rose thought that Gigi and Dreamy kicked Denise off the platform, which is no. It's just that she has her own thing, all concerns to be worrying about.
Well, she has real life priorities that
Yes.
imagine that she's attending to, and it's more like she removed herself temporarily, and then she will have her come back when all of her priorities have been taken care of.
Yes. So she's taking, which I like to refer to it as another YouTube sabbatical.
Mm-hmm.
But in any case, whenever Denise, whenever you are ready, the welcome mat is here, right here.
Amen.
And you know what? We'll probably have a big party when she decides to come.
Agreed. Yeah, I haven't seen her in like a few months though I do remember her just occasionally popping by in your chat below.
Yeah, and a couple doing a couple lives as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but the one thing, and this is one thing that I can say without hesitation,
What?
which is there's quite a few things that make us different, but there's few things that we hold that makes us similar. Um, the ability to discuss a situation logically,
Oh yeah.
okay, which unfortunately that's something that some of the ops are not able to do.
Not yet.
No.
I always try to be a little bit hopeful for them though.
Yes.
So just not yet.
Mhm. That is true. That is true. And yes, we are the eternal optimists. Okay. Yes,
Mm.
we do believe that there's while a person's alive, there's always a possibility that a person can have their hearts transformed by the love of Jesus.
Exactly. Like look at I mean me and you hold the apostle Paul in high esteem, and we know that he approved of the stoning of Stephen,
Yes.
and he was persecuting Christians too.
Yes.
But yet he wrote 2/3 of the New Testament.
Hmm. That is true. That is very, very, very true. Okay.
Yeah, we know
And
that.
returning to Creole Lady, I mean, I just enjoy her content, particularly when it comes to Christ-centered content.
Same. And she gave me the inspiration to do what I did earlier in this stream.
And Creole Lady, I don't know if you're watching this or maybe you watch this on the playback. You're more than welcome if you wish to enter the chat or enter the panel. I understand that you may be a little bit reluctant because we know why.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Like I even see some good Spanish prayers right here though. Like kind of like the one right here says, Dios concédeme la serenidad para aceptar las cosas que no puedo cambiar, valor para cambiar aquellas que puedo, sabiduría para reconocer la diferencia.
and for the benefit of those who are not familiar with Spanish, what my friend did was he actually cited the Serenity Prayer in Spanish.
Mhm. Yeah. I like that one. What do you do? What do you think?
I think it's very nice prayer because look, um, the reality is this. I know that there's certain individuals um, that do not understand what it is to be a Christian, or they have false concepts regarding Christianity. Some of it could have been because maybe they came across some Christians that was extremely judgmental, or Christians which gave false testimony about
Pharisees,
themselves.
modern day Pharisees. Hmm.
Yes, which believe in the do what I say and not what I do, which is not good testimony.
True.
Mhm.
Yeah, and unfortunately, when it comes to those types, they tend to be the loudest in the room. So people are
Oh
only going
yes,
to listen to the ones who are the loudest, right?
oh yes, they are. And unfortunately, um, they paint a brush and think all Christians are the same. It's like all mulattoes are the same, or all Creoles are the same, or MS, MLS is the same, and we all know that's not the case.
Not at all. Well, I can kind of tell you this though, but there's that one verse in Matthew 15, verse 8, which says, "These people honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me."
Yes.
So there you go.
But there is one verse of scripture that's been very confusing to a lot of people. If you blaspheme against the Son of Man, you can be forgiven. But if you blaspheme against the Holy Spirit, there's no forgiveness.
Yeah. And there's more to that. Basically, it just means that your heart has become super duper hardened to where you can't hear God or see God at all. That you basically have already been turned over to your carnality, to where your carnality becomes your own God.
And
so
you know what's
if that's to be the case, if you die like that, then yeah, we know what's up.
Yeah. And you know what it does, it creates a lot of fear that people might mistakenly blaspheme against the Holy Spirit without them knowing it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I will submit this to you. If there's anyone that is wanting to be right with God or trying to be right with God, in my opinion, you have not blasphemed against the Holy Spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Because at least there you're acknowledging that you want to get right with God, or you're acknowledging that you're far from God, and you see that there has to be some sort of a change.
That's right.
So, you know what? That would be an interesting topic to discuss on the stream. And like I said, I would really love to get Creole Ladies' intake about it. I know, like I said, unfortunately, due to things that happened to her, she's very reluctant, and we have to accept that.
Yeah, and what you can do is either email her or just comment on her post with whatever the idea is. She tends to get back pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Now we kind of discussed this a little bit. Unfortunately,
What?
what comes up is old beefs.
Which ones?
You know what? I don't. I don't like to single out anyone because we know how sensitive some people are. But we have seen certain people that go on and on and on and on regarding issues that are 2, 3, 4, or even 5 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, there's a certain individual that used to be a supporter of Gigi and Dreaming, and all because of one incident where this person felt uncomfortable, um, became an opt, and basically, unfortunately, used the platform to highlight beeps regarding these two ladies. Okay, instead of what mature people will do if they have a beef. You reach out to these people, preferably offline, and you have a discussion and you express your point of view and how what they said or what they did was offense.
And who is this? Irby says he's still around. So who is he? You can even write it in the private chat.
You know what? Just give me a moment. I wish. It's funny because I used to be able to do comments in the private chat. I don't know why, because I don't want to like enter a comment and then the comment appears in the chat.
Oh, too late. Oh, too late. Irby already said it. Too late. Too late. Is that true?
Yep.
No, I'm kind of done with him. I mean, like, I think that me and him made closure at a certain point, though. But no. I no longer vibe with Al like at all, though, because I kind of remember like one last thing that he said was, "Oh, I'm so glad I opposed you." I'm like, dude, instead of that kind of smart mouth right there, you should actually appreciate people's transformative journeys regardless of where they're at, though, because dude, man, I already know, man, you got a lot of stuff in your past, but you're not going to ever hear me smart math you by saying that, wow, that totally sucks that you were like that. I'm like, no, man, you can just kind of just hear and you can just very much tell that it was pretty ridiculous to say, I'm glad I opposed you. I'm like, you mean you oppose probably a part of myself that's dead? Look at it like that.
Yeah.
No, I don't. I mean, he's done. I mean, I wish him the very best, but no. Mm-mm.
And I don't harbor any ill will. The problem I have is the hypocrisy. Okay. First of all, I mean, how is it that you became an ally and an op instantly over something that happened that occurred in one strain? Again, I mean, most of us would have done simply have a discussion offline, express how they felt, and try to resolve it that way. But to be going on and actually devote entire streams regarding Gigi and Dreamy and what have you, talking about that they were fired,
They're fine.
which is
going back to 20. That's old. This goes back to 2023.
I mean,
2023, man.
and they're talking about how the other content creators felt the same way. First of all, I did not, and I'm sure you did not felt the same way. And I would suspect that several of our friends who are content creators also express similar points of view. So talking about how they felt the same way, and I'm sorry, but who died and left him to be the chief spokesman for all the content creators?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't do that with the people in my sector. Okay. I did not appoint myself as the chief spokesman for Denise or Radical Latino or BroTab or MK or Maceo or the 18th letter or the Intro Boricua or
Grand Merchant or Grand Merchant. Like he's another one though, right? But you and Grand Merchant were getting along.
Well, you know what? I never had an issue with him. I never did, and it's just that.
Same. I'll be like, I know you once said in the stream like he doesn't like bullies. Well, I don't either, bro. But I would also hope that you also apply that more and more. By the way, though, and call out when you see it, because guess what? Your friend is one of them, and if that's your friend, correct your friend.
And you know what?
And I actually like him. He's a nice guy, by the way, though. I'm fair and reasonable. But, bro, we have to reprimand our friends when they're clearly doing stuff that are wrong or things that are not right. The same way how you saw me respectfully disagree with Gigi. I said, Gigi, no. And this is why I think you're wrong, respectfully. And you saw how we humbly handled that, right?
Yes. Well, look, how many times have I disagreed with Denise?
A lot.
Okay.
Even Jose, bro, me and you don't even agree with some stuff either, though. But we keep it respectful and civil, right?
That's true.
I'm not passive about stuff, though. I'm not going to just passively turn a blind eye to something, though, and just not say anything. I'm like, no.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
You're Catholic, I'm a Protestant. I'm a full-blown Protestant.
Yes.
And we clearly have some differences.
And let me tell you something. I did not see Grandma Sean checked his friend when he was attacking me, particularly when I was recovering from surgery.
Oh, yeah, from last year.
Okay.
Like I said, if you were to be doing that, Jose, you're going to get reprimanded, though, and I will probably be distancing myself from you for a little bit. But
of course,
that's not what you do.
But that's not my style. That's not how I do things. But in all fairness, okay, in all fairness, I mean, you can be friends to certain individuals, but when they get out of line, I'm sorry, but you have to put them in check.
Otherwise, you become a part of the problem because
Exactly.
because you become very passive. You're passive. You're passive about what's going on, and that level of passivity is pathetic.
Yeah, and really, I never had my issue. See, my issue with the Owl Show was the hypocrisy. Okay.
Yeah, because I know you still. Because I remember like that stream from 2023 where it was you, him, and Gigi on the platform, and man, dude, it truly became what you call a circus, and you still have it up too.
Yes.
Yes. If you go back, folks, to 2023, it's still there. I'm just like, now that was the worst kind of circus you had on here.
Yeah, and you know what?
And Al was saying that, oh no, fine then, ban me. You're a recidivist, Gigi. You're a recidivist. You're a recidivist. I remember that.
In fact, what I did was, I actually asked Gigi to hop back on the panel. Okay, on the panel. And I apologize because, first of all, unfortunately, I was having technical difficulties. So unfortunately, I couldn't put it in check or what have you. But like I said before, it's the hypocrisy that he displayed. Okay. And the lack of accountability as well. And you would think it's someone at his age, because he's a couple of years younger than I am. that
He's Generation X, though. I'm like old enough to be. I'm 32. One thing I've noticed is that some of these folks are actually old enough to be my dads. I noticed.
yeah. And that's where I have the issue with. And I actually confronted him about it. And of course, he wasn't he wasn't transparent.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, I have no issue with the Al Shaw. It's just that my issue is the lack of transparency that he displayed and also the hypocrisy involved. I mean, how do you go from being calling these two Thelma and Louise and then talking about that they were fired and that he was the chief spokesman for the content creators? He did. He does not. He has not or never will been the spokesman for me.
True.
And I suspect he does not speak for you. He does not speak for the Boricua, Denise, Melanin at Night, Radical Latino, Rotap, Maceo, Keshawn. Pete.
Okay, first things first. This is a decentralized community, by the way. And in decentralized communities, you can only talk for yourself.
Yes.
So that's it. Unless it becomes more centralized and we have like a hierarchy going, but that's not this space at all. That's far, far from the space. So therefore, you can only speak for yourself.
And I don't even speak as I don't act as a chief spokesman for the people in my sector. So
I mean, you could be your own, like, what does it call it? Your own. You could be pretty much the own CEO of your own platform. Like I'm the CEO of my own platform, though. I call myself the transparency crew on my platform, though. But that's just me, though. It's not something that reflects the whole space, though, because, like I said, it's decentralized.
Yeah. And as much as I love Denise, I don't claim to be a spokesman for her. She don't need me to be a spokesman. She don't need that. She's more than capable of speaking for herself, and she does that very well.
Yes.
And the same thing that could be said for MK, the same thing that could be said for Radical Latino, the same thing that could be said for Brotab, Kim, Ramon, Keshaw, Don Amando, and anybody else that have been on my platform. They don't need me to be their spokesman.
But what if they wanted you to?
That's a different thing. But they have to let me know. So for the Owl Show to be going to talk about, well, the content creators fired Gigi and Dreaming. Gee, that's news to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure it's news to you.
No, I remember that stream, though, and that he had 18 people watching him, too. About the whole Gigi, you're fired. I remember that.
It's probably the only time he had that many people watching him. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And I don't mean any disrespect, but it's like it's kind of like a snooze fest.
Yeah, it was something though, but I'm just glad that it died down, you know.
Yes, so do I. Also,
we were all very different back then too. Very different.
Yeah. And of course, I
And
recall,
not the same.
yeah. And of course, I recall there was one stream that I did that we had that lasted for almost 5 hours, and it clearly deteriorated into a
I
shouting
remember
match.
that. Yeah, it was DG was on it, Rakim was on it. Oh, that was terrible.
With Gigi. Yeah. And would you believe that that stream got close, not has close to 600 views?
Yeah, I. It's still up to yeah. You still have all your wild streams up, man. From
I mean,
20.
but you know what? It's up. It's still up. I mean,
Yeah, I do remember it. It was crazy.
yeah, Irby, people love drama. People love drama. So, I mean,
Like
and,
Irby, like
and
that.
they've been yeah, and there've been one or two times when actually there've been some spicy confrontation between Gigi and Ramon.
Really?
Yeah.
How and why?
Well, let me tell you something. And this is no put down or shame on anybody. Look, we all know for a fact that Ramon has certain views, okay, that he's not going to back away from.
Oh yeah,
And the
politics.
same
Okay.
thing can be said, and the same thing can be said for Gigi.
Yeah, I mean, even Ramona's even said some stuff too that I just respectfully disagree with. Yeah, when it comes to like the area of like politics or whatever, because he actually
Uh-huh.
once said that how like a lot of those mass shooters so that we saw like all over though tend to be like those who vote red or voted for Trump though, but I strongly disagree with that though. Like somebody like Brenton Tarrant, who did what he did in New Zealand at that mosque, he had nothing to do with Trump though, and he's not even American. And
Yeah.
I think I would say that it's wrong to throw him into the Trump supporting category. No, 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 no.
Yeah.
Please, you really want to really come across actual shooters who shoot in mass, go to the south side of Chicago, which is very blue, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Also, there have been a couple of disagreements between Ramon and Denise regarding the migrant situation.
Which led to him leaving your group
Yes.
on Instagram.
Yes.
Yeah, I know where Denise stands on that.
Look, like I said before, like I said before, me and Denise, we disagree over lots of things, many things. The difference is that we can discuss it intelligently. That's the difference. And in fact, I met Denise during a disagreement on one of Extina streams.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But you know, one thing I will say among the many things I will say about Denise that I love very much is that she one of the most realist people on the platform.
True.
There is no guile in her.
I agree.
So, and you know, she's the type of person that she will speak without filter.
I think we all do for sure. What do you think?
Yeah. But you know something? That's that's part of the reason why I get along so much with Denise and get along so much with Gigi and even with Dreamy, because basically they're more or less variations of the same. They are very passionate about what they believe. They're very, they're very independent. They'll say that what's on their mind without fear.
That's true.
Okay. So I respect anyone that will say that,
Same.
even if I disagree.
Same.
Yes. And of course, we have had our arguments as well. Me and Denise. Even at one point, I was excommunicated from her channel.
And then you became the prodigal friend.
Yeah.
Yep. The prodigal friend, huh?
Yep. Which is why. Look, I have no problem extending an olive branch. Okay, but there has to be some understanding. Okay, like I said, I have no problem extending an olive branch to Magic. I don't even have a problem extending an olive branch to a certain extent to the future, except it kind of like it casts a poor light. Her trying to have me excommunicate you from my platform without any justification, and even the same thing with the Ant report. But the thing is, they all have to take accountability for their actions, which is on something unfortunate that's not going to happen anytime soon.
Now one thing Dreamy is right is that may never happen, and be okay with that. Okay. Because like I think me and Dreamy brought up that video that we saw that was made about her on You Know Who's channel.
Oh,
I
yes.
saw that like last year though, and then that's where I asked the question. Remember when you told me to take accountability? Are you going to apply that same kind of advice to yourself? Especially since I noticed that my name was even mentioned in that video too. So I'll be waiting for a response, but I'm okay if I never get a response. Okay. These people know how to reach me. I am very
Yeah.
easily accessible. My email's out there. Okay. You can leave a comment on my post, but I already know that it's not going to happen, or at least I don't think that's going to happen. Nope. I actually
I
dare,
think, yeah,
but I don't
I
think
think
that's going
I think it's a case of do what I say, not what I do.
to happen. Mm-hmm. So I'll be waiting, but it probably won't happen.
Yeah. But nevertheless, the olive branch is extended. So,
Same.
and I would even extended the olive branch to those who have been bad. It's just that unfortunately, they burn the bridge, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. I
And
will say
unfortunately,
this though, who I think that you should probably bring on here though is Ona.
I've heard of Ona. Now I
Yeah.
never had an issue with Ona, and I wouldn't know. Okay, first of all, I wouldn't know. I've heard her. Okay, I've heard her. I think I heard about her once or twice dealing with issues with Zacharias and
Mm-hmm.
with Fight.
Yep. Yeah. She used to follow me on here when she had her pages though, but I think she had already been terminated 3 times. But I will say this, I did not follow her back though, even though she was following my platform. Because I'm past that stuff. Because I respected her honesty. I commended her for that. But I'm clearly in a different direction though, because she did make it very clear though that she feels proud to be a self-hater though, and then saying stuff like how black people should find ways of racially diluting themselves, so because of how, and what she said, how they're the least desired. I think what all I saw in Ona was just, a young woman in her early 20s who was just in a very vulnerable spot and just struggling a lot with low self-esteem and self-respect issues too.
Mm-hmm.
So I just, prayed for her deliverance. But if she's more than welcome to come back to my page and support. But even if she's listening, though, Ona, I am very, very well past that stuff. And girl, you need a lot of deliverance from your soul wounds and your traumas, though. You have to take ownership of your traumas, though, because this world here, this crazy world, is not going to tiptoe around any of your traumas, though. You need prayer, repentance, and also deliverance too, the same way that I need it too. Because with with your rhetoric and everything, you're not really going to end up with the partner that you're saying that you want to talk about, though, because that is not going to be a man who will love you. An actual man or woman who loves you and cares for you is actually going to challenge you to become better. Okay? Because you're always evolving in life. We always evolve. And so from then on, I will not support your platform at all. But you can for sure follow me. I will not ignore you or push you away. But I'm in a different direction. And that's the bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
I do not think
Well,
that anybody should be rewarding bad behavior. Because I'm like, no, Ona, no, no.
yeah. Well, like I said, I've heard about her briefly. I've seen clips, mainly clips are going on with
Zach and
Zacharias.
Bluish too.
Okay, but no, you know what? This is going to be an unpopular opinion, but I'm going to say it anyway. Part of the issues that Zacharias has been dealt with, he's brought upon himself. Now, why are you going to go to Lewis's channel and confront him, or go to Fighter's channel and confront Fighter and some of the other people on the panel? I mean, really, if there's someone that you cannot stand,
Right.
why go to their platform?
Yeah.
Okay, that does not make any sense. Okay, and the same thing could be applied. You have issues with me. Why are you trying to get on my platform?
True.
Okay,
And then that led to Zach getting permanently banned from your page.
yeah. And the one thing that I disagree with Dreamy is that I should, if I'm wanting to discuss it on your platform, I should just go ahead and just make peace and just welcome him back on my panel, give an opportunity. The problem is I've given him opportunities only for him to be disrespectful towards me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that though, because you still have those videos up too.
Oh yes, they're up. Okay.
Going back to 2023.
Yeah. Particularly when I did the shout out to the fathers.
Yeah.
Okay. Because between me and Denise, I know I shouldn't be rejoicing, but we did a very good job roasting him.
You did a good job. What?
Roasting him.
Roasting Zach?
Yeah.
I
I
get
mean,
it
I
though. It was
know.
a very emotional time for you too at the time.
Yeah.
Because we all remember you flipping out at him too, Jose. Man, dude, you remember that, huh?
Yeah, I do.
Flipped out, man. That's honestly like the first time that I ever saw you at your worst. It's like the very first time.
Well, you have to really like You know, my
Like,
last nerve for me to get to that
otherwise, I'm
point.
getting off the effing platform. I'm like, whoo, Jose. Man, dude. But I already know, man, we all know, man, that's not really you, though. It's just you were just really pushed to your limit. You were at your threshold, and hey, it came out, though. But that's not something that reflects your character. But I know that a lot of people like to zoom so heavily in on one of your worst moments. But no, I'm not like that.
No.
You
And,
remember
you know, and
that.
this is and this is the thing. And this is the thing. You know that you're not welcome in a platform.
Right.
So you're gonna go there not only when you're knowing that you're not welcomed by me, but you're not even welcomed by Denise. I mean,
Right.
what possessed you to think you think that you were gonna go on my platform and think it was gonna go well?
Right. Is he allowed to at least comment in the chat?
No,
Oh, he
no,
can't even comment in the chat.
no.
Otherwise, I didn't know that. I know that he can't come on here and talk to you like this, but he can't even write a comment or say, "Hey, Jose,"
No.
because Gigi said that he actually wrote a comment on one of her videos. I'm like, okay, cool, but he can't write anything on any of your stuff.
No, because he'll be immediately blocked. I've already instructed my mods if he starts to try to do that, block him. And in case any of my mods are listening or catch this on the playback, if you see Sacrifice try to enter a comment in the chat, please block him.
Understandable. We do have to respect your rules, that's for sure.
Yeah. But look, I mean, like I said, look, I don't wish him any ill will. I just wish that he gets the therapy for whatever mess that led him to the condition that he's in today.
Yeah, well, much love and prayers for Zach and everything, even though I know that you feel a certain way. That's why I said it's all going to take place on my channel. Okay? And yes, if it gets out of hand, then yeah, you can leave.
Yeah.
I hope that does not happen. I'll say that.
Well, let's just say anything's possible, and I'll leave it at that.
Mm-hmm. Right. What if it were possible if you and him became like neighbors? Would that be okay?
Because
What's up?
would you repeat that, please?
If you, in a hypothetical situation, how would you handle it if you and him were to become neighbors? Like at your apartment, he's the next door over.
Avoid him like I avoid a bad habit.
Wow, you were serious because you would even extend the ban even in real time too.
Yep.
What if you two became coworkers? You can't avoid that, man, because that's your bread and butter. So what do you do now?
Talk to him as little as possible. Actually, believe it or not, I have a coworker I haven't spoken to in months.
So you already have somebody in real time that you try to keep the talking to like the bare minimum, huh?
Yep.
Okay, wow. Jose,
it'll just be another person that will do the same thing. That's all.
You are serious, Jose. I guess the message of tonight for you would be don't mess with Jose Negron, though, because he means what he says. Even if your mother, your father, your nephew or brother were to ever come back from the dead and they begged you to let the coworkers back into your life, you're still going to say no.
Correct.
Gosh, Jose. Wow. You are serious, bro. You mean
Yep.
business. And you're not playing.
Nope.
You're not playing at all, huh?
Nope.
Well, man, we're already at that 2-hour mark, so
Well, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop to wrap this up. I mean, like I said before, I don't wish him any ill will. I seriously do not wish him any ill will. But I
same.
think in reality that there's certain okay. We're just not meant to mesh together. That's all.
True. Not all personalities are. I don't like to say compatible, by the way. It's more so not all personalities are suitable, because you two could be compatible and toxic stuff, though, but as a whole, you guys are not. But when you guys have suitable personalities with one another,
Yeah. I mean, look.
say long last permanent, like ours, and Don
Yes.
Armando's. Long lasting.
Now, if now can we coexist in the same platform? What on Donovan's platform? Yes. Doesn't mean I'm going to speak with him. No.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah. But in any case, I'm going to stop to wrap this up. You have any final remarks?
Yeah, call out cyberbullying, call out lies. Know that you ought to treat lies like a loan, because it's going to come back to you with interest that needs to be paid on that lie. Love Jesus. Jesus saves. He loves you. Even pray for everybody. Pray for the haters. Pray for all. And seek out their well-being and their redemption. I could say a lot, but I admit that I'm
Yes.
getting a little sleepy. But if you have a closing remark, feel free to say it.
Well, first of all, as always, it's a real pleasure to chuck it up with you here and on a Friday night. Huge shout out to the people out in the chat. I guess Gigi and Dreaming will probably watch this on the playback. Of course, guys, you can always share it. Just don't use it to attack me or anybody else. And when everything is said and done, life is so short. We fight over old battles and things of that nature. And I'm just trying to be the best version of myself. And of course, Monday, my next stream will be, let's see, what is intercessory prayer? So we're going to discuss that, what it is, what is not. And I'm going to ask that those who are not Christian, who will watch the stream, that please try to at least open your mind, if not your heart. We're not here to pass judgments on anybody. We're not here to condemn anybody. It's just that we're having topics on topics that's pertinent to us.
Yep.
I will enter a comment one of Creole Lady's videos, letting her know that I will be discussing it. Most likely, she'll probably watch it, from the clouds. But of course, she's more than welcome to hop on and express her point of view.
That's right. All righty. Peace out and God bless. And
Yes,
I guess
peace out to you.
Even to the Opsto, I love you guys to the bottom of my heart too, even though I do not condone what you do at all. Okay? Love you.
Yes.
I love you,
Love you
Jose. I
too.
love you, Gigi. I love you, Dreamy. I love you, Irby. I love you, Embrace Your Curls. And I most definitely love you, Don Armando. Have a good night and bless. Peace,
Yes.
blessings.
Good night. Stay blessed. And of course, we're going to close the same way that we always close. We must do everything possible to avoid the presence of the mentally and intellectually challenged, because if we fail to do so, we will be infected by the stupidity and massive insanity. This has been another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron saying good night, take care, and peace.